This is going to be video number 9 in the series of videos for building our target app. It is also the 4th one in stage 3, and just like the last few previous ones, it will deal with explaining one of our scripts, in this case, our last script. We got as far as step 14, where we populated target viz and the my explosion into the public fields. In the script, explode when hit, which means we can proceed to step number 15. From this module, in D2L, in your course shell, we're going to copy the code for CatchMissScript and replace it with a CatchMissScript existing shell. To remind you again, the CatchMissScript is part of the prefab wall. Here it is. And one way to open it is to find it in my scripts folder and double click on it. Another way to open it is to find where it's attached and 3 little dots, edit script. Just like all our other scripts, it started as just a shell. It's supposed to come up in a second. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go to here, go back in codes for copy paste. Here it is, code for CatchMissScript. Highlight. A pretty short script. Only the first one was kind of long. This one should be like 30 something lines. Copy, go back to the code, highlight. Don't paste in addition to, paste instead. If my first comment was on line 1, it should end with a line end class, like I said, 30 something lines. Save. And let's see what we need to do there. What's the job of CatchMissScript? It's basically the job of the wall. The wall has a job of doing something like this. If I miss a target, I will hit the wall. What is the wall going to do? First of all, destroy the bullet that hit it. The second thing it will do is play the sound that's attached to it. If you remember, that's already from stage 1. The wall prefab has an audio source, but it's not play on awake, so we're going to have to awaken it. That big miss impact. The third thing it's going to do is instantiate the miss impact, that hole in the wall thing. Let me open it. This, wherever the bullet hit, and it'll have to find out where the bullet made contact with the wall and instantiate that right there. The hole in the wall already includes both the shape and the explosion, and it is play on awake, and it will play immediately. So let's see how that script does its job. The first thing it does is define a public field called audio source missed sound. It defines which sound will be the one that's going to play when we hit the wall. And the other one is define. Notice that it doesn't say game object, but transform, because the most important thing about it is where it is. The miss impact prefab defines the prefab that will be the hole in the wall. Who's going to play the part of the hole in the wall? The rest of it is a big on collision enter, and you can see that it has a very similar structure to the other one we had. On collision enter, a function which listens for collisions. The event is collision. The object that's going to cause or call the collision, I gave it the name who hit me. The first thing it's going to ask, just like the target, who hit me? The wall is asking, is it the bullet? Because the target, moves around. It might be the target that hit the wall, but we want to invoke all of this only if it's the bullet. So in other words, did a bullet hit the wall? In other words, was there a miss? First thing it's going to do is destroy who hit me, game object. Destroy the bullet that hit. The second thing it's going to do is define a new variable called contact point. What type of variable is contact? And it's going to go, hey, the object that hit me, Where is the very first place? 0 means first, just like in arrays, the first item in an array. What is the first place it hit me? And give me its contact points. It's a local variable called contact points. It's one, big long number. Where else can it hit? Think about it this way. If you throw, for instance, an object that's not round, let's say a cube, at the wall, or even a capsule, it will hit the wall, but then it might also hit the wall again as it kind of, crashes on its side. What I want is to extract only the first point of contact, which is why it's 0. Once it finds out that point of contact, it's like, where did it hit the wall? It converts it to a vector 3. Like I said, this is going to be one big, long, barely readable value. What I want to do is chop it up, break it up into a vector 3, into an x, y, and z. So I know exactly where to instantiate the miss impact prefab, which is the hole in the wall. Once I know exactly what the position is, x, y, z, I can say, yeah, instantiate one of those holes in the wall. Where? Exactly at the position that I extracted one line ago. And if you remember, quaternion identity means the rotation of its parent. Who is its parent? The wall. And that makes it perfect, because if it hits the front wall, it'll have the same rotation as the front wall. It'll look like a poster stuck to the front wall. But if for some reason it hits one of the side walls, we will experiment with that, it will get the orientation, the rotation of the side wall. Back to the script. The last few lines are about something that I'm personally sensitive to, and that's sound. I come from the world of sound. There's a sound that's attached to the wall, and that's the sound of that, it's not exactly an explosion, sound of an impact. But I found it kind of boring that every time we hit the wall, we get exactly the same sound. So the long, expensive solution would be to have like an array of sounds that sound similar, but with little variations. Then make an array of those sounds and randomly choose one of those sounds every time. I chose a nice, let's call it not low-tech, but simpler way of doing this. One of the parameters we can change about any sound is its pitch, basically its speed. And when we play it faster, its pitch goes up, and when it plays slower, its pitch goes down. The normal pitch is 1, so I'm saying, you know what? Make the pitch of the sound anywhere from 0.4, which means slow down to 40% of its speed, all the way to 1.6, which is 60% faster. I didn't want to go any bigger than that because it could go all the way to 0, and this can go all the way to 3, or it will sound like, like a munchkin. This range, I experimented, still sounds like an explosion. I will play it, and hopefully you will be able to hear it, definitely in your own applications. So every time that we trigger the sound, it gets a random speed, so it sounds a little different. Finally, we can make that missed sound play, and we can tell application data to make a new bullet. Why? Because this bullet was destroyed and we need a new bullet. Not make a new target, because this is a miss. The target would still be standing. This is the end of the if. For the if it's the right tag, this is the end of the onCollision, and this is the end of the class. The one thing we need to do is populate the public fields, as it says in step number 16. We're going to find the wall and double-click to open it. And in the inspector of CatchMissScript, you're going to populate the public field missed sound and miss impact prefab as following, and it shows you exactly which goes where. We're going to do it in the video. So I'm going to open the wall prefab. I'm going to find its script. It has, because the script defined it, a public field for missed sound and a public field for the impact prefab, or in other words, the wall. The missed sound belongs to the wall, so I drag the wall itself, and it knows to say, oh, it's the wall's audio source. It's actually the one sitting right above it. It's like saying my own audio source will be the one, activated. Miss impact prefab is like what to instantiate, and we want to instantiate that hole in the wall. At this point, if I save, and I make sure the script is saved, I don't think I made any changes in it. Let's read what the guide says. When I finally do this, the game, let's call it the teacher's version of the game, is completely done. The one thing we're going to do separately is learn how to compile it to an app, but that's a separate tutorial. I believe you can find it in your D2L shell, or we will go over it in class. And let's see how we are able to test the game. We should be able to play and see a bullet and a target. We should be able to rotate the bullet, shoot. If I miss it, it should make a hole in the wall plus dust and a sound in the wall. If I hit a target, explode plus sound, and the text displays should be like updated. And after 10 shots, it should show me all my statistics and turn the lights off. The message will appear that the game is over, and the replay button will be activated. And pressing replay should restart the game. Let's see if all of that happens. I'm going back to the main scene. I'm going to make the game window a little bigger so I can see it. Game starts. Rotate and shoot. I'm going to be very, and the only reason it didn't play a sound is because my speakers wake up only after one sound. But the next one, so now notice how I have, after it's been destroyed, I have one hit, one missed, I shot 2, I have a 50%. Some shots are easier. Some shots are harder. Notice how right now I hit the same spot twice, and the reason it was able to generate like almost a second hole is because the holes themselves don't have a collider. We disable their collider. If they had a collider, it would prevent it from hitting the wall behind them. So let me try to hit this one. Good. 2.5 seconds. Disappears. There's even a way of seeing this. See, right now I have one bullet and one container. Everywhere it says a clone, it means that it was instantiated by script. The missed impacts, those stay, but at any given moment I should have only one bullet and one target. Let's see if I miss this one. Actually, this one I'll overshoot, so maybe you can see a hole in the wall on one of the side walls. Do you see how the hole in the wall got the same orientation? So it looks very realistic. It's like it's rotated with it. The further it is from the edges, the harder it is. And it doesn't stay, it goes back. So you have to re-aim every time. I have 8, I only, hit 3 and missed 5. I got my 9th bullet. Let's see what happens when I get to my 10th bullet, whether I hit or miss. I hit. And when it got to the 10th bullet, see what happened? The lighting container was turned off. I don't get another bullet. It doesn't matter that I get another target. The new target was instantiated because I destroyed the last target. But the important thing is I got nothing else to shoot. Nothing, I press B, nothing will happen. The only thing I can either do is replay or exit. If I press replay, game gets restarted, but it remembers that my best round so far was 40%. I hit 4 out of my 10 targets. I'm going to stop this right now. This is pretty much the end of stage 3. If everything works, you zip your project, you upload it to the submission box by the due date. Good luck, and I will see you in class.